What is up, you guys? Thank you for tuning in to this video. Kind of a sad one. Got to replace the engine in my V8 swapped Montero. As you can see, bunch of snow. There's a ton of snow outside. But yeah, so I got to replace this thing. Did a stupid thing. I drove through about let's see, up to my windshield in water. Sucked some up here and hydro locked it, which is, you know, unfortunate. It's completely my fault. But actually bent a rod when it hydro locked, and I tried driving it home and it was rod knocking the whole way, and then it finally blew out the block down there, number 8 cylinder I think, or whatever cylinder's on the left side here, but it blew a hole back there, which is kind of cool. I've never done that before. But yeah, so I'm just going to get this thing replaced. Probably not going to be too exciting of a video, but I'm going to get it all in there. I don't know if I'm going to go with another 5.3 or do something else, but I do have a lead on an aluminum block 5.7. That would be a pretty good upgrade, you know, another 50-60 horsepower on top of this, a little bit bigger cam in there, a little bit bigger stock cam in there, which for now I think I'm going to leave that. And yeah, so I might go get one of those. I want to see how trashed these heads are. If they're not trashed, I might use them, but I'm pretty sure that one's most likely garbage. But first things first, got to take this off, which means taking the hood off. Once I get this stuff off, I will go ahead and take the radiator out and there's the core support in there. But it should come out pretty easy since I do know what I have to do. Wiring, not too hard. I got to get the heater core lines off of there. Yeah, the wiring shouldn't be that big of a deal, and I can actually clean it up a little bit when I put it back together. So, you know, you live and you learn. Don't drive through water without a snorkel that deep. So I'm having, look at all this wiring mess too. This is my fans. You don't really see it down there. It's actually nice and tucked up. This is, forgot what that is, but it's there. My freaking trans line down here, it's very annoying. I use like steel cord, steel braided transmission lines, and they are very strong. So it's hard to get off of there. But it's kind of funny. I was thinking a lot of times when you're working on cars, it's, you know, something's hard to do, you blame the engineer, which in this case is me. So I have no one else to blame for any of this except me. So that's always fun. I'm gonna get the radiator out, then I can go ahead and start taking accessories off. Intake's gonna come off. Basically gonna pull out a long block. Alright, now I gotta go ahead and take the intake off of here. It's pretty easy. I got all the wiring off, the water pump's off, this whole bracket is off, alternator, unplugged all the injectors. Make sure you mark them. Make sure you mark them. I mark them. There's not a lot of people doing this, I don't think. But yeah, so I'm gonna undo these 2 fuel lines on the intake here, and I'm gonna unbolt the intake and I'm gonna take it off. Alright, pretty much ready to pull the engine out. Got all the bell housing bolts off, except for one in the back, and I got the exhaust off, and got the torque converter bolts off. Got the engine out of here. Wasn't too hard. I used this engine hoist that I've never used before. But here's some pieces that came out. They're just sitting on top of the starter, so there's a bit of rod. There was another piece that's inside though. Here's part of the block. But yeah, let's get a closer look at this hole. Yeah, that's a big hole. That's a pretty big hole in there. So I actually just picked up a rebuilt aluminum block 5.7 liter LS1. So that is what I'm going to swap in there. Pretty much only going to use like not really much off of this engine apart from the valve covers and the front and main covers and stuff like that, and the pulley. But yeah, I'm gonna rip the head off of this, get the manifolds off, and see the damage in there. Very surprisingly, this is the piston with the rod that got broken. It tapped the valve a very tiny amount. This head is totally fine, which is awesome, which means I can recoup some money. I'm gonna reuse all these push rods. They're decent. I mean, I pretty much redid all this stuff, so I'm really happy that that didn't destroy the head. So sweet. All right, got the second head off. It looks like tapped the valve there just a little bit, but these heads are totally fine. So I'm gonna clean them up good and sell them. If I put this on the LS1, it would make 11 to 1 compression, which not something I'm really looking for. But it's always it's a good upgrade for me. They make good power, but I don't want to have to run the best gas in it all the time and do that junk. So I'm gonna go ahead and sell these and just use the 241 heads that I got. So it actually looks like I broke 2 rods. So you can see this one, the dot is way off center, and I can just push this one in. So 2 broken rods, 2 of the back ones. So number 7, or let's see, this is number 8 or number 7 and number 8, both broke. That's kind of cool. But this thing was running, also was running super rich. So that's probably why I only got like 14 miles per gallon, 13, 14. But that's interesting. So I had to pull this off. There's my old pressure sensor. That thing's it's probably seen better days, but still works, so I'll use it. And I don't know if you guys remember, this is tapped for this, so I got to take that off, use it. This oil pan's trash because it cracked on the other side. Valley cover and the front and rear main plate things, main covers, and that'll be good to go. Here's the LS1 I picked up. You can see flat top pistons all the way through, all aluminum, 5.7. It's got a stock cam. The stock cam in this is like a 197-206 or something like that, whereas the stock cam in a 5.3 is a 191-190, so pretty small. This is a good 60 horsepower upgrade, so, and it takes 100 pounds off the front, just enough for a winch. And here are my 241 heads, not 243s, but they're 241s, and it should be totally fine on this. Looks good. All right, it's pretty much what I've been doing lately is fixing up all the wiring here. When I did it last time, the engine was in the car. A lot of the wiring behind the engine and on top of the trans was hard to get to, so I just kind of left it open. Redid this wiring. That's forgot what that's to. Redid the fan wiring here. There's some 4-wheel drive wiring I gotta extend down there just to clean it up, and then I want to wrap the alternator wires and oil pressure sensor and all that stuff. Looks a lot better than it did before already, and it's going to look a lot better when the engine's in it, because this wiring is going to be hid behind the engine and you won't be able to see it. So okay, got the manifolds on. I'm going to put the harmonic balancer on as well. There's a trick to this, because it's a press fit over here. You don't want to just use this screw. They make another screw that goes on and basically presses it on there, but I don't have that. The way I'm going to do this, and the way I've done it before, is you get some oil and you put it on this seal here, quite a bit of oil. Then you heat the snout of the harmonic balancer up, basically as hot as you can get it, which expands it just enough to slide over the crank like nothing. I've done it like that before. I've seen Taylor Ray, I think his name is, the drift car guy. I've seen him do it like that. It works perfectly. It's pretty amazing. I had to do it when I was in the car at one point, and it's perfect. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that right now, just with a regular propane torch, and give it a shot. Aha, that worked perfectly. Smoky because I poured some Monster on it, but that worked perfectly. So I put it on there hot, slips right over it, and you can feel it start to grab as it gets colder, and works great. So that's on there. Go ahead and torque that bolt down to a lot, and then it should be good. Okay, got the engine in here. You can see, yeah, I got the engine in. Got to torque the torque converter bolts down, and just put all the accessories on, and spark plugs, and you know, all that easy stuff. This thing's gonna be running today. You got to fill it with fluids. So it's almost all the way together. Pretty much everything's plugged in. This type of stuff I'm talking about cleaning up, because I always told myself I was going to shorten this so it goes to the alternator and looks a lot better, but I never did, so I just like looped it around in there. But now I'm going to go ahead and cut it there, and I'm going to solder a new terminal on there and shorten that up. Pretty clean solder job here. Just wanted to show that off a little bit. So I'm gonna go ahead and hook that up. Redid my oil pressure sensor line over here. It just goes down back there. If you guys watch my video, you already know all this. I just had to redo it because the other one got rusty and I broke it off by accident. But yeah, a lot of what I'm doing is shortening wires and stuff, and you know, just tidying it up a bit. All right, guys, I think I'm about ready to start it. I just got to put water in here and hook the battery up. And you know, this is the part where I get a little bit nervous, just because this supposedly is a rebuilt engine, and I didn't rebuild it, and I got it really cheap. So that's about all you need to know. I'm a little bit nervous. I didn't put it together, apart from, I mean, I put the heads on it and, you know, some other small things, but you know, a little bit nervous about it. And yeah, I got to put a battery in it. I'm sure some of you Montero guys can understand, when the project's done, it's pretty much time to clean up the battery tray, because it seems like it's a perfect spot to put everything. So that's pretty much what I end up doing. Got to clean that off, put the battery in, and we'll crank it over. Well, looks like at some point I popped my radiator, so that's cool. I'm still gonna see if it starts. I don't need water anyways. All right, I'm gonna undo the fuel pump relay. Unplug the coils too. I don't even know if I got oil pressure, but we're gonna see. Because I don't think the gauge works when the car is not running. Alright, so here's the radiator I'm using. It's a nice aluminum one, a lot thicker than the other one. Now, since it's thicker, I need to move it farther forward for the hood latch to clear. And looks like I run into the steering box down there, and this is about as close as I can get to the engine. I need a couple of fans to fit in there. So here's the F-body Camaro fan shroud. I'm gonna cut it really thin here and get a couple of fans, a couple of 12-inch fans to fit in here, and then I'll have to fabricate mounts to fit in that. Here's kind of what I got going. Big old beefy radiator in there. You can see I got plenty of room behind here. I really do want to get AC in this thing, so I'm trying to leave a little bit of space for an AC condenser, but I have a feeling this is gonna have to be reworked again if I want to do that. But right now it's not so bad. It's gonna be pretty close to the engine. A little hard to see there, but my mounts, I have a little bit of tweaking to do, but that one just kind of keys in there with the little dowel it has at the bottom, so that can't go anywhere. This side just kind of sits in there like a cup, holds it, and then I gotta figure out how to do the top. All right, so here's how I'm mounting my radiator. I think it's kind of cool. Seems like it will probably work. It's a little weak right now because not fully welded, and I need to engineer it a little more. I gotta connect here to there with another 1/8-inch strap or something to hold that down, because this mount puts a lot of force on it. So pretty much what it is down there, that little rubber piece, that's a like for a piece of furniture, like a table leg would go in that, and it would make it so your table doesn't slide around on your floor. But it's the perfect size to fit in between these two rails on the top of the radiator. So I basically put that in there, it stuffs in there nice, and then I got a washer that works. I don't make one, but I have a washer that sits on top perfectly in between the rails also, and then a lag bolt, or not a lag bolt, a carriage bolt, because the head of the carriage bolt is round and it kind of fits into the hole that I drilled on this piece of metal. So I can, it's kind of hard to do. I need a tool. I'll show you real quick. So I can, if I tighten this, it'll loosen the radiator like that. So now it come out the top here. I have to do this a little better. I'll weld up all that, but you know, pretty much rough concept here, and it should work totally fine. I'll probably put some grease on the end of this carriage bolt and get a little bit longer one so it fits better, but right now it looks like it's gonna work pretty decent. So there I am, I'm loosening the carriage bolt, and all it does is clamp the radiator down to the mounts I have down there. Okay, making this cool little bracket. It's gonna go, you know, something like that in here, just to strengthen this all up. So it's 16 gauge. I'm gonna weld it to this piece and bolt it to this piece, and should make it a lot stronger, just so I can have a little bit more strength in this radiator support area. I'm gonna bolt onto there. I'll probably take that little bolt off, and then I'll put maybe 2 bolts in here. So I got 3 on this side total. Should, and yeah, it's all gonna be welded here, so it's gonna stiffen this up regardless, even if it's not bolted in. But yeah, should work pretty cool. Should work pretty well. This is also where I got modified my aluminum shroud to work in here. You can see how close everything is, super close, but that shouldn't be a big problem. It's almost touching the steering box down there, might as well be, at least that doesn't move at all. But yeah, everything's super tight in here. Right, got the radiator all mounted up, made this cool bracket. It's welded on there, held on with 2 bolts on this side. This thing is, it's very, very strong. The radiator's in there, doesn't wiggle at all. I mean, a little bit. You want a little bit of wiggle, okay? It's got that. I'm gonna put some water in here, and I'm gonna hook the MAF up, and should be, I think, ready. I'm gonna tie back this hose here, there, just like that. A lot of stuff has to happen. Look at that clearance I got there. Not a lot. So for diff oil, I'm using this cheap Mag 1 80 weight 90. It's GL5, which is what this calls for. And you know, Mag 1, did some research on it. Mag 1's made by Warren Distribution, so they make a lot of house brand oils, and they're all American, and they seem to have, you know, pretty good reviews. I think they make SuperTech also, and a bunch of oil for Amazon as well. Yeah, I run SuperTech in basically everything just because it's cheap, and I've never had a single problem with it. So that's kind of why I keep running it. So I figure I get some Mag 1. This is kind of Warren Distributions. This is like their flagship. This is the main brand that they push. So that's what I'm going to use. Noisy in here. I was gonna set my tripod up over there, but I'm a little paranoid with the power lines being there. Just gonna go up this little spot. Pretty much makes it up everything. This is a pretty steep hill. I'm not using the brakes at all. This is really just walking speed. That's what's nice about having the NP 246 in there. It's got a 2.72 to 1 low ratio. So pretty much just does this at, what am I, 500 RPM. Idles down everything, or up anything, basically. I just blew something. Smells like water. All right, well, you saw it here on the trail. I just think I just blew a radiator hose. So I'm gonna let this sit for a little while and I'll fix it. All right, let me show you guys what's going on. Also, look at this cool LS1 badge I 3D printed. Designed it to fit in the stock V6 paneling piece there. Let me show you what happened here. Alrighty, there's the radiator hose. It just came undone from there. Now I'm pretty sure the reason it's doing that is because that fitting is just like a standard like PVC low pressure, low temperature fitting there. So they make them for radiator hoses, but the Napa didn't have them in, and this looks almost exactly the same. So I figured it would work, and turns out it doesn't work because this is the second time this has happened to me. Sprays coolant everywhere. I figured the last time I just didn't put the hose on far enough, but that does not seem to be the problem here. I'm just gonna go ahead, put some water in there and fill it back up and put it back on there, and I'll just back out of here, back up the hill. That's pretty sick. Okay, now we back up this clay hill. Hopefully I can do that without overheating at the top. On here. Fans are going up. We're at 211 now. So I'm gonna go ahead and shut her off here. Let's see if it goes any higher. These fans are going full blast. I may have blown that hose off again. Let me check. I'm gonna shut her off and see if I can scrounge up some water around here. Awesome. All right, guys, I think that is going to be it for this video. I broke the Montero, I fixed the Montero, and I drove the Montero all in one video. So I think that's going to be it. Thank you guys for watching. Make sure you check out my Instagram. It will be in the description. It's evans.auto. You guys can just kind of see what I'm doing on a day-to-day basis. Mostly dealing with the Montero, but you know, I post motorcycles, I post all sorts of stuff on there. So make sure you check that out. Give this video a thumbs up. Hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you guys in the next one.